The next speaker is a man who has been going up and down the country trying to show the world that not all Jews are Zionist supporters of Israel, that not all Jews are criminals like the Jews who are acting against international law in Palestine, Israel. The man is called Barrie Levine, the chair of Scottish Jews for a Just Peace. Barrie.
Sisters, brothers, Assalamu alaikum. I was sickened on Monday when I saw what happened, the reports of the flotilla, and I was sickened even further hearing the way the Israeli government tried to justify their actions and talk about this flotilla being a flotilla of hate, a ship of hate, and everyone on these ships being terrorists. I think that's just an outrageous slur, and both as a humanitarian, as a Jewish person, I just find it absolutely outrageous. But there's two underlying points here which keep getting missed out. The first point is there would have been no deaths, there would have been no injuries if the Israelis had not boarded those ships in international waters, committing an act of piracy. And secondly, even more fundamental, there'd have been no need for the flotilla in the first place if the illegal blockade of Gaza was not in place. That is the real crime. On Thursday, Mark Rega, the chief spokesperson, propagandist, call him what you will, of the Israeli government, was on Radio Scotland answering points I was trying to make. Making a point about Israel's security and talking about if this flotilla had got to Gaza, then what would have happened? We'd have seen Iranian missiles somehow being launched from there. Absolute arrant nonsense, and it's outrageous the way that the spin develops from the Israeli government. But the thing is that what he's talking about is the security of Israelis, and he means the security of Israeli Jews. Well, the reality is that what Israel are doing in terms of the blockade of Gaza, of the continuing occupation of the West Bank, of the demolition of Palestinian homes, of the continuing building of settlements, doesn't make it safer for Jews, it makes it more dangerous for Jews. That's the reality, and that's both in Israel and outside Israel. We need to stand up, and we're proud to stand here today alongside a growing number of Jewish people, networks around the world, who are saying enough is enough, and we're not prepared to accept what the Israeli government says anymore, and they do not speak for us. And we call on all other Jews to join us in that respect and speak up, because we need some additional pressure on the Israeli government. Final couple of points. This blockade of Gaza, Wales talked very eloquently about the effects of the siege of Gaza. It is outrageous, it's a scandal, it's a stain, it's a blot on humanity. And it's a blot not also on humanity for Israel, but a blot on the international community. We're not doing enough to actually stop it. And we need to put in continual pressure to try and do so. I think there's a degree of hope here at the same time. There's a degree of hope. I've got a list here of over 60 cities in the world today and yesterday where there are demonstrations in support of Gaza. And you might be interested to know where this list of demonstrations comes from. It comes from the main Jewish newspaper in Britain, the Jewish Chronicle. And there's a wonderful understatement here. It says, some of the emergency protests against Israel massacre coming up. That's a lot of protesters. Absolutely, that's a lot of protesters. And the more protesters we have, the more chance we have of actually stopping Israel's actions. We need to fight for the human rights of people. We need to fight for the human rights of Palestinians. We need to fight for freedom. We need to fight for peace. And fundamentally, we need to fight for the right for Jews and Arabs, Christian, Muslim, whatever, to live in peace in the Middle East. That, I believe, is the only solution. In one country, democratic rights for all in the country there. That is the solution we need to fight for, and we need to fight for it today. Thank you.
All together, Muslims, Jews, Christians, all